All right, Rabbi, say good morning. Let us begin. Today's daf is Memches 48, and we are picking up on Mem Zayin Amud Beis 47b. We thank our sponsors for this morning's shir, to thank Ed and Faith Wolf for dedicating all the shir and drashos this month in memory of Faith's mother, Nessa Basvelvel, and Berachos Strimber for dedicating all the shir and drashos this month in memory of her husband, Avi, Avram ben Kalman Eliezer Halevi. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, the neshamas will have an aliyah and the families a nechama. And I will say with that, let us begin. A lot to do today. We left off pretty far up on Amud Beis, but we're going to get through it all in Mirza Hashem. Mem Zayin Amud Beis 47b. We are picking up on the second of their intermediate wide lines, Achal Tevel Umaiser. So remember again, I will say the Mishnah is now going through the list of things that if you eat them, ultimately, again, you cannot join to be part of a mezumin, and the reason for that is because these items are really prohibited for consumption. So again, the general principle is that if halacha l'maaseh you're eating something you're not supposed to be eating, then you cannot be mitzvah, you cannot combine and join in a mezumin. So says the Gemara, Achal Tevelu Meiser. So if a person went ahead and ate tevel, untithed produce, Meiser Rishon, Shino Nitla Trumaso. So the Gemara says, Tevel Pshita. Obviously you can't go ahead and join in a mezumin if you ate tevel, to which the Gemara says, Lo Tzricha, Betevel Tevel Midrabanan. We're talking about rabbinic tevel. So you might have thought that if something was only rabbinic tevel, you should be able to go ahead and join a mezumin. So what's the case of rabbinic tevel? Heichi Dami, Ba'atzitz She'ino Nakov. An interesting case, an unperforated flower pot. So an unperforated flower pot, Shabbos, remember again, technically speaking, produce is only considered produce if it grows directly in the ground. So even if you're growing something in a flower pot, as long as it has holes on the bottom of it, it's considered mechubed lekarka. If something grows in a non-perforated pot, technically speaking, it's not considered to be growing from the ground, and therefore halacha l'maisa doesn't have the status, let's say, of regular produce, which means that technically speaking, it would not be biblically subject to tithes, but rabbinically is so. See, even in such a case like this, a Talmud Rabbanon still can't join the mezumin. Meiser Rishon. So what about Meiser Rishon that you did not remove Truma Gedola? Pshita, lo tzricha kigon shektim b'kriya. We'll say, remember before, like it goes back to yesterday's daf. What's the case? The case is where the Levi got his Meiser Rishon portion while the grain was still piled. So Ma'u Detema, before they separated out the Truma Gedola. Ma'u Detema kidamar le Rapapa la'abaye. What would you have thought? Like Rapapa said to Abaye yesterday's daf, Kamash Malon Kiddushanila. Rather, the Gemara says, but we answer it like we answered it yesterday, that halacha l'maisa, if the Levi goes ahead and takes the Meiser Rishon while the grain is already piled, under that circumstance, halacha l'maisa, under that circumstance, Truma Gedola must still be removed before the Levi partakes of his portion. Meiser Sheni. So what's the case of Meiser Sheni that wasn't redeemed? So the Gemara says, Pshita, lo tzricha sheniftu v'lo niftu kilchasam. What are we talking about? A case of where Meiser Sheni was redeemed, but it was not redeemed in the appropriate way. What's an example of that? Kegon shephadao al gabe asimon. Let's say, for example, like they redeemed the Meiser Sheni on an asimon. So for those of you a little bit older, asimon doesn't mean what you think asimon is, right? What we used to use to make the telephone calls in Eretz Yisrael. So we'll say, so rather again, asimon means an unminted coin, a slug, an unminted coin. So if you go ahead and you redeem, remember again, Meiser Sheni is my produce. I just have to take it to Yerushalayim and consume it there. What happens if I don't want to carry my produce up to Yerushalayim? So I can redeem it onto money, bring the money to Yerushalayim, spend the money in Yerushalayim. So what happened? But there are halachas in terms of what kind of money you could redeem on. So let's say you redeemed your Meiser Sheni on an asimon, an unminted coin. However, the Torah says that when it comes to Meiser Sheni, you must redeem Meiser Sheni only on monies, only on money that has an image. If it's unminted money, it cannot be used for Meiser Sheni redemption. Hekdish, so for example, if you redeemed Meiser Sheni but you didn't redeem it appropriately, it's still illegal to consume it. So therefore, if you did consume it, halacha l'maisa, you cannot be mitzvah to a mezumin. Hekdish shechilo gabe karka v'lo pado bekesef v'rachmana amar v'nasana kesef ekamlo. Similarly, again, hekdish, if you have consecrated property that you wanted to redeem, hekdish must be redeemed onto money. cannot be redeemed with real estate. So if you redeemed hekdesh with real estate, that is not really a proper redemption. So then if you went ahead and subsequently consumed it, you could not go ahead and be part of a mezuman. And if the shamish that eats less than a kizayis, he also can't be mitzarif to a mezuman. So pshita, I did the tana reisha kizayis, tana seva pachos kizayis. You're right. That last piece over here about the shamish eating a kizayis was only there to maintain textual symmetry. Since the Mishnah began by saying that if the shamish does eat a kizayis, he can combine for the mezuman. So we just wrote at the end, if he doesn't eat a kizayis, he can combine for the mezuman. But you cannot go ahead and include a non-Jew as part of the mezuman. So pshita, that's obvious. What's a fascinating case? Beger shemal v'lo taval. We're talking about a person who's in the process of conversion, who went ahead and did bris milah, but did not immerse in the mikvah. Remember again, so really conversion is comprised of multiple parts, but the two primary parts are milah and tevilah, circumcision and immersion. So the case over here is the ger, the convert, who did circumcision but did not immerse. So we'll say in such a situation, Rabbi Yochanan, the olam eno ger, at shimo v'yitbol, the kama delo taval nachrihu. That the halacha is even after the nachri had a bris milah, he is not Jewish until he goes to the mikvah. So even if you have a nachri who's in the process of conversion, he did milah, but did not yet do tevilah, he cannot combine to be part of the mezuman. Nashim va'avadim uktanim ein mizamna alein. Women, servants, and kitanim cannot be part of the zimun. Rabbi Yossi, this is actually quite fascinating discussion. Rabbi Yossi says that even if you have a baby in a cradle, you could include. It sounds like what he's saying is you could include him in the mezuman. So the Gemara says, but we just said before that you can't include children, you can't include minors as part of a mezuman. Rabbi Shmuel Levi said, even though we said that you can't include a baby in his cradle as part of the zimun, also sniff la asara. But what can you do? You could go ahead and include him as part of the group of a minion. Look at Rashi, meaning for zimun purposes. Look at Rashi, sniff. Chibur lezimun asara, v'chi amar Rabbi nami la asara kamar. So we'll say this is very interesting. We're going to see this. There's school of thought that holds that when it comes to a minion for benching, because from a ocular perspective, people don't really distinguish between 9 and 10, so the definition of 10 becomes a bit more fluid. So even if you have 9 and a baby, right, it looks like 10, right? Even without the baby, it looks like 10, right? It looks like 10, so therefore it can be a bit more fluid in your definition. We don't subscribe to this idea, but there is this looser definition of a minion. This is not for tefillah purposes, just to be clear. This ultimately, again, is for zimun purposes. Rabbi Shmuel Levi, Tisha ve'eved mitzarfin. Rabbi Shmuel Levi also said that halacha l'maisa 9 and an eved could go to be mitzarif. So is that true? Meisvei, Meiser Rabbi Eliezer shenichnas lebeis hakneses v'lo masas sara. Rabbi Eliezer walked into shul and he did not find a minion. V'shichrer avdo, he emancipated his eved Kanani. V'shlimo la'asara, and ultimately again his eved Kanani was the minion, right? Became the 10th. Shichrer in lo shichrer lo. Now, first of all, you see over here that's what? You see over here that an Eved only counts if what? If he's emancipated. Obviously, once an Eved Kanani is emancipated, he becomes a full-fledged Jew. So you see that he only counts towards me once he's emancipated. To which the Gemara supposed to listen to this. In fact, treyut strichu. Really what happened is that when Rabbi Eliezer walked into the shul, they only had 8. They needed 2 more people for the minyan. So what did he do? Shichrer chad v'nafik b'chad. So he went ahead and he emancipated 1 Eved. That way we have 9 full-fledged Jews, and ultimately again used the other Eved ultimately as the 10th. The Hechi Avid Hachi. So we'll say, how could he do this? Now we'll say what the Gemara is bothered by is, how did Rabbi Eliezer emancipate his Eved Kanani? Vam Rav Yehuda, Kol Meshachrer Avdo Over Ba'aseh. Yet Rabbi Yehuda said that what? Whoever emancipates his Eved Kanani is in violation of a positive commandment. Shene'emar Li'olam Bahem Ta'avodu. The idea over here is that a person is supposed to go ahead and keep his Eved Kanani forever. Right? We'll say, so again, as opposed to, let's say, again, Eved Ivri, who goes free after 6 years, Eved Kanani is supposed to be yours forever. The Sefer HaChinuch says the reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that was in order not to have to take an Eved Ivri. HaKadosh Baruch Hu prefers that we not take an Eved Ivri. that we not take a Jewish servant. So therefore, again, the Torah created the concept of an Eved Kenani and encouraged ultimately the individual to go ahead and keep the Eved Kenani forever. To which the Gemara says, how is Rabbi Eliezer able to emancipate his Eved Kenani? Lidvar mitzvah shiny. This was a mitzvah. To be mashlim the minyan, to complete the minyan is a mitzvah. And therefore, again, he felt he was permitted to go ahead and emancipate the Eved. But mitzvah haba ba'aveirahi. That's very nice that he performed the mitzvah, but it's a mitzvah ba'aveira. He did something that is seemingly illegal. He emancipated the Eved Kenani. Very nice that he did it for a mitzvah, but what's the pshat? To which the Gemara says, mitzvah de rabbim shiny. But this goes back to what we learned about yesterday also, about the power of the rabbim, the power of the collective. That ultimately, again, when there is a mitzvah for the rabbim that has to be performed, then halacha l'maisa, even the violation of some level of aveira may be permitted. Rabbi Shmuel Levi says a person should always try to come early to shul. So the person should always be counted amongst the first 10 to arrive in shul. Because they say even if 100 people come after you, kibal alav schar kulam. Now we'll see what that sounds like is literally you receive the reward of all of them. So we'll say schar kulam. What does that mean? That you get the other people's reward? Ela ema nostin lo schar kineged kulam. Rather, what it means is you get the reward corresponding to everyone else. So it's an incredible Gemara. If you are of the Asar Rishonim, if you are of the first 10 people to come to shul, then halacha l'maisa, you get the collective schar. You don't take anyone else's schar, but you get the equivalent of everyone else's schar who comes. Incredible. Just for arriving a few minutes earlier. Such a dramatic Gemara. Amar Afuna, Tisha v'ar mistarfin. So both say, so again, along this same theme of those who have a bit of a more fluid definition of 10. So Afuna says, Tisha v'ar mistarfin. So 9 people and the Aron could go ahead and combine for a minyan. Amar Rav Nachman v'aron gavru. What does that mean, that the Aron is combining for a minyan? Is the Aron a person? Amar Afuna, Tisha nirin ka'asara mistarfin. Rather, what it means is when you have 9 people who look like they are 10. In other words, when you look at a group and it looks like a large enough group, that ultimately is good enough to count for 10. Amrle ki michnefi va'amrle ki mevadji. Some say that's true when 9 stand together, and some say it's true when 9 are a bit more dispersed. Rabbi Ami, Shnai v'Shabbos mitztarfin. So Rabbi Ami says when it comes to mezumin, 2 people and Shabbos. 2 people and Shabbos ultimately again are mitztarif. We'll say that the power of Shabbos, right? Shabbos is mitztarif to Yizim. Of course, we don't paskin like any of these halachos, although Rabbi say by the minyan piece. So again, we know that we did discuss the idea of a katan being mitztarif towards a minyan, right? The Mishnah Berurah brings this down also of katan holding onto a chumash, holding onto a sefer Torah in necessary situations in order to become that 10th. By Shabbos, we know again we don't accept this halacha. Shabbos is not the third person in your mezumin, but Shabbos does play almost like an interpersonal like role. We know by Sheva Berachos, Shabbos represents the panim chadoshos, right, the new face that allow ultimately again Chassan and Kala to be able to recite Sheva Berachos on Shabbos. So the Gemara goes like, Amar Rav Nachman Shabbos kavru Shabbos a person. El Amar Rabbi Ami Shnei Talmidei Chacham hamechadedin ze et ze ba'alacha mitztarfin. Rabbi Ami said 2 Talmidei Chachamim who sharpen each other in the learning of halacha. Ultimately, again, are mitztarif for zimun. We'll say, remember again, the concept of zimun is a unit of 3 that ultimately gives greater praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What the Gemara is suggesting over here is 2 Talmidei Chachamim who sharpen each other's knowledge. Those 2 individuals are as great as a unit of 3, and therefore have the ability to go ahead and use the Zimun introduction. Machvi Rav Chisda, so Rav Chisda motion, Kigon Ana v'Rav Sheshas, like me and Rav Sheshas, we sharpen each other in matters of halacha, matters of Torah. Machvi Rav Sheshas motion, Kigon Ana v'Rav Chisda, like me and Rav Chisda sharpen each other. Quite beautiful. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Katan Poreach Mizanin Alav. So Rabbi Yochanan says a Katan, Poreach means who is. Poreach means he has sprouted pubic hairs. Rashi says, Katan Poreach, Shehevi Simanim, V'lobalech Lal Sharav. So this is a child who has reached the threshold of physical maturation, but is not yet 13 years old. So let's say he has 2 hairs, but he's not yet 13 years old. So what's the halacha? So Rabbi Yochanan says, the Brisa says that halacha ma'aseh he could be part of the zimun. But if he has not yet shown signs of physical maturation, ein mezamin alav. Ultimately, we don't include him in the zimun. Ve'ein medaktikin bekatan, and we're not so medaktik, right? We're not so careful ultimately again regarding a katan. So the Gemara says Hagufa kasha. It doesn't make sense. Amrit hevi shtei saros and lo hevi lo. So first you tell me if he has signs of physical maturation, he could be included in the mezumin. But if he doesn't have signs, he can't. And then you tell me v'hadur tani ein medaktikin bekatan. Then you tell me you're not so medaktik. Not so medaktik. You will say sounds like what? We don't really see. Does he have two hairs? Not two hairs. Not so medaktik. So which one is it? My love. La suye katan poreach. Does that not come to include ultimately what? A katan, Rabbi said that even if he is below the age, in other words, even if he has not yet reached the age threshold of adulthood, if we know that he has physical signs of maturation, then halacha lamaisa, we can count him towards the zimun. To which the Gemara says, "V'les hilchasa kechon." Yishmael says, rather, Rabbi say the halacha is we don't follow any of these previously stated opinions. Ela ki hadam Rav Nachman. Rather, what do we hold? Rabbi say as follows: Katan hayodeh lemim mavarchin bezaron alav. Rabbi say, listen to this. If a katan knows who he is benching to, right? If a child knows who he is reciting the bracha to, right? Who he is talking to, who his bracha is directed towards, mizanon alav. You can include him in the zimun. Abai v'Rava, so the Gemara tells us a story. Abai and Rava havayasi kamei de Rabba. Abai and Rava were both sitting in the presence of Rabba. Amrlu, and they were children. Abai and Rava were children at this moment. Amrlu Rabba. Rabba said to them, tell me, lemim mavarchin, children, who are you making your brachas towards? So the Gemara says, Amrilei l'rachmana. So they both answered. This is Abai and Rava as children. They both answered, we're making our brachas to Hashem. V'rachmana heicha Yosef. So Rabbi said to them, no, and where is HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So Rava achvi l'shamei talala. So Rava motioned up to the ceiling. Abaye nafik libra. Abaye went outside. Achvi klapi shmaya. And he pointed towards the heavens. Amar lehu Rabba, tarvaichu rabbanan havisu. You are both going to grow up to become great rabbis. Right? The idea that as such young children, they possessed what the Balatanya called this God awareness. Right? The Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi summit. They appreciated who they were davening to, who their avodah was directed to, and the notion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu residing in the celestial sphere. So Rabbi saw great things in the future for these boys. Hainu da Amri, and of course this is like the popular adage, Inish butzin makatfe yadia. Okay, so I'll say literally what it's translated as butzin are gourds, right? Gourds. So the expression goes like this: that ultimately again gourds butzin makatfe yadia are recognizable ultimately again from the sap when they are small. Again, much better in the Aramaic. But Rashi says over here, Mekatve, Rashi says, Kataf usaraf ha'ilan kilomar mishashu chonit v'yotzi mitoch asraf nikar miyatov. Apparently gourds or pumpkins, from the time that they are formed from their sap, you could tell whether or not they're going to be good. In other words, that there are certain things in the Butzin family that you could tell if they're going to be good even when they're young. So this is the expression that Rabba was able to see that Abaye and Rava were going to be great when they grew up, because he was able to perceive this ultimately again from the fact that they possessed this God awareness even as very young children. So I'll tell you this halacha because it actually is quite fascinating. This is in Siman Kuf Tzadik Tes Sif Yud. So the Shulchan Aruch writes as follows: Katan she'egia la'onas hapuatos v'yodeh l'mi mavarchin mizanon alav u'mitztaref bein l'shlosha bein la'asara. So we'll say, so the halacha is this is really how the Shulchan Aruch understands this. Shulchan Aruch understands that ultimately again, when a child understands who he is making a bracha to, when a child has God awareness, ultimately again you can be mistaref him to a zimun. That's literally how the Shulchan Aruch paskins. Now the Ramah comes along and he says, "V'yesh omrim de'in mitzarfin oso klal ad shei ben shlosha asar da'az mechaskin leikagadol shei v'shtei saros v'chei noagin ve'im l'shanos." So the Ramah says that our minhag today ultimately again is to only count children from the time that they are 13 years old. But the purest form of the halacha is that children can be counted as part of a zimun from the time that they possess true God awareness. And I will say that's how the Mechaber paskins. I don't know if Sfardim do that. That's how Sfardim work. Good. So we'll say again. The Mechaber does not record any machlokes. I want to point out something very interesting. This is not just by benching. Very quickly, this is not just by benching. The truth is, this is true by meyalchas. For example, tefillin. We saw this. When do you begin to put on tefillin? From the moment that a child is able to maintain a clean body, the halacha is he should put on tefillin. We bumped up that age to 13. just to create an objective start time, because out of concern that some children are more mature, some children are less mature. But technically speaking, there's nothing magic. I mean, bar mitzvah is magical because it triggers an obligation. But technically speaking, from the moment that a child is able to keep a clean body, if he wants to put on tefillin, he absolutely has the halachic right to do so. Which is why, again, we have various minhagim about when we start going ahead and putting on tefillin before bar mitzvah. But again, understand there's some level of fluidity in those as well, because technically speaking, the halacha really is that once you have an understanding and an awareness, you have the ability to start. So that's the same thing by tefillin, same thing by mezuzah. Good. I'm going to have Yehuda Rabbi Shmuel Bar Shilas Mishnei Derav. Tisha, we'll say another fascinating halacha. Tisha achlu dagan ve'echad achal yerek. We'll say sometimes this creates a little bit of confusion when it comes to zimun situations about what does everybody have to eat in order to be part of the mezuzah. So now we're talking about a minyan. So what happens if you have 9 people who ate grain and one person ate a vegetable? So what's the halacha? Mitzdarfin. Ultimately, again, they could combine to form a group of a minyan for benching purposes. Am Rabbi Zera, by minei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Zera said as follows. So remember again, this is Rabbi Yehuda saying in the name of Rav that Allah Chamaisi, if you have 9 who ate grain-based items, whatever it is, bread, whatever else, right, and 1 who ate a vegetable, that one could combine with the other 9 to form a minyan for benching purposes. Rabbi Zera now asks of Rabbi Yehuda the following: Shmona mahu, Shiva mahu. What happens if it's 8 people who ate bread and 2 people who ate vegetables? 7 people who ate bread and 3 people who ate vegetables. Can they form a minyan for Berachos also purposes? Amralei Loshna. And Rabbi Yehuda said, no difference. Right? Whether it's 9 and 1, 8 and 2, 7 and 3, makes no difference. They all form together to form a unit. Now, interestingly enough, Shisha Vadai Lomi Boili. So Bezerah said, I didn't even bother to ask him about 6. Because I knew that 6 would not be good. I knew that if you had 6 who ate bread and 4 who ate vegetables, that it for sure would not work. Why not? Truth is, Rabbi Yirmiyah said, you did a good job by not asking, because that's obvious. Because why is it that it works if it's 9 and 1, 8 and 2, 7 and 3? Mishum de'ika ruba. Because there you have a majority of bread eaters. So as long as you have a majority of bread eaters, you're good. 1 second. I don't understand if you have 6 and 4, you also have a majority of bread eaters. So what's the shaila? To which the Gemara says, "Iu savar ruba de minkar ba'inan," and he felt ultimately again that Rabbi Zera felt. The reason why Rabbi Zera didn't ask about 6 and 4, because Rabbi Zera felt, I know you need a majority, but it's not enough to have a majority. You need what's called a ruba de minkar, right? A recognizable majority, right? So Rabbi says, so something that when you look at it looks like a clear majority. So 9 and 1, 8 and 2, 7 and 3 all look like a clear majority. 6 and 4 already no longer has the appearance of a clear majority, and therefore halacha l'maisa, it doesn't work. We'll say, how do we paskin in this situation? Because again, this is really also quite fascinating. So this is in Siman Kuf Tzadik Zayin Sif Beis. So we'll say, so what is the halacha if you have a minyan of people, not everybody ate bread? So we'll say, so to be clear, right? So let's look at the Shulchan Aruch. Tisha sha'achlu dagan. 9 people ate grain. Va'achal echad kizayis yarak, and 1 ate a vegetable. So what's the halacha? Mitztarfin lahaskir Hashem. They could combine, so as long as the 10th guy ate something, halacha l'maisa, they could combine to form a minyan for benching purposes. Va'afilo lo tibel imayim ela betzir, o lo shas imayim ela kos echashesh boravias b'chol mashke. Chusin Rabbi said, not even that, even if he didn't eat anything at all, even if he just drank with them. Now, he has to drink something chashuv, meaning it can't be a glass of water. So he's got to drink a glass of wine or something else that is more significant. He combines with them. Ultimately, again, but I will say, but one thing is, even though this 10th guy who ate the vegetable or drank the glass of wine could combine with the minyan, he can't lead benching, obviously, right? It could only be someone who ate bread who could lead benching. Watch this. Shisha lo. So I will say, this works. 9 and 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, but does not work 6 and 4. Why not paskins the Shulchan Aruch? Deruba de minkar ba'inan. Because ultimately, again, we need a recognizable majority. So I'll say this is indeed halacha l'maisa. So you could form a minyan for benching purposes, even if not everybody ate bread. If at least 7 people in the group ate bread, 3 others ate at least something of significance. Obviously, none of those 3 could actually lead benching. One of the bread eaters has to lead benching, but 6 and 4, of course, would not be able to combine for a benching unit. Beautiful. What's an interesting story? Yanai Malka Umalkasa, Kricho Rifta Bahadi Adadi. King Yanai and his queen. King Yanai and his queen were sitting and eating bread together. So we'll say, so what happened? Since Yanai killed out all the rabbis, just a small detail of the story, which we'll discuss in just a moment, there was no one to lead benching for them. So what exactly happened over here? So we'll see, take a look at Rashi. Yanai Malka, Rashi says, Mimalchi Beis Chashmonai. Remember, Yanai was one of the Hasmonean kings, right? Post-Hanukkah story. So Yanai is one of them. Now, both say, now understand, the Chashmonai kings did something very interesting. Chashmonaim were Kohanim. Right, they were Kohanim. So they did something very interesting when they defeated the Syrian Greeks and restored the second Beis Hamikdash, which is they not only assumed the mantle of the Kahuna, but they also assumed the mantle of the Malchus. There was a fundamental machlokes in the Ramban and the Rambam as to whether or not they actually did the right thing. The Ramban feels they acted appropriately in order to consolidate leadership in a very tumultuous time. The Rambam feels they made a terrible mistake, because Rabbi say again, religious leadership and the Malchus, right, and the monarchy are supposed to be separate entities. That's why, again, monarchy is given over to Yehuda. Rabbi say, just to be clear, we don't believe in a separation of not church and state, but we don't believe in a distinction between religion and government. There is no. We believe in a theocracy, right, in a monarchy that is governed by the tenets of religion. Religion runs everything. We don't believe in democracy. We don't believe in freedom independent of religion. Everything is run by religion. That being said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted it to be that Malchus comes from one place, Kahuna comes from a different place. So the Rambam says they made a terrible mistake by going ahead and assuming both. It appears that history kind of confirms the pshita of the Rambam because this monarchy did not work out well. Many of the Hasmonean kings were disasters. So Yanai, what did Yanai do? He killed out the rabbis. Why? The Rebbe says, so again, we don't have time to get into the story, but the Gemara in Kiddushin, as actually points out over here, speaks out that the rabbis brought up questions regarding his yichus and regarding his ability to serve as Kohen Gadol. So he got a little perturbed, a bit miffed, right? And he wiped out everyone, almost everyone. So I'll say, I just want to point out, he's not the only Hasmonean king to do this. The most notable one to do this was Hurdus, was Herod. Herod did the same exact thing. Now again, Herod doesn't have the same Hasmonean lineage as Yanai, but Herod did the same exact thing. Exact. Remember again, interestingly enough, the only reason we have a piece of the Beis Hamikdash left today, the kotel we have today, is part of the the retaining walls that were built by Herod. Why did Herod do that? Because he felt bad for wiping out the rabbinic community. That was his apology to Am Yisrael for wiping out the rabbinic community. So Yanai and his wife are sitting eating bread. So what happens? There's a problem. There's no one to lead us in benching. There's no one to lead us in benching. Why not? Because we wiped out the rabbis. So what should we do? So the Gemara says, oh, if only I could have a rabbi, right? If only someone could give me a Talmid Chacham now to lead us in benching, it would be wonderful. This was a dramatic story. So his wife says to him, do you promise me that if I produce a rabbi, you won't kill him? Right? If I produce a rabbi, that you won't harm him? So the Gemara says, listen to this. So ishtabala. So he swore to her. So it says in dramatic story, I sisa l'Shimon ben Shetach achua. So apparently what happened is when Yanai was killing out the rabbis, so his queen hid her brother. Her brother was a sage by the name of Shimon ben Shetach, right? It's one of the greatest sages. She hid her brother. So she says, I'll produce a rabbi. I'll produce one of the Talmidei Chachamim, but you have to promise me not to go ahead and hurt him. So she brings her brother out of hiding. Osvei bein didei ledida. So again, Yanai is so happy to have a Talmid Chacham. He seats Shimon ben Shetach in between him and the queen. Amar lei chazis kama yakra avidna lecha. So he says, Shimon ben Shetach, do you see how much covet I'm giving you? I'm literally seating you between the king and the queen. Amar lei, to which Shimon ben Shetach responds to him, Lav at kamokrisli, ela oraisahu demokrili. Dechsiv salsalo tramamecha techabdecha ki techabkena. To which Shimon ben Shetach says to Yanai, excuse me, it's not you who gives me covet, it's Torah. that is the source of my kavod. My kavod doesn't come from you. My kavod comes from the Torah that I learned. He quotes over here the beautiful pasuk from Mishlei. Literally, salsala, if you caress it and hold it, tiromemeka, it will lift you up. It's a reference to Torah. If you caress and hold Torah, it will lift you up. Techabdeka, honor Torah, ki techabkena, and Torah will embrace you. So Yanai gets upset, because now he feels disrespected by Shum and Shetach. So he says to his wife, Amrullah, kachazis dolam akabel maros. Do you see this guy? Do you see how he doesn't accept authority? Here I am, I'm trying to give him kavod, I'm trying to give him a compliment, and even now, he rejects my authority and says that his kavod doesn't come from me, his kavod comes from Torah. So his wife calms him down. So they give Shem and Shetach the cup of wine, and they want, so apparently there was a meal going on. They wanted Shimon ben Shetach to lead the benching. Amar Hechi Avrich. So Shimon says, how exactly should I lead the benching over here? Should I say Baruch Sha'ach al Yanei v'Chaverav Mishalo? So remember again, Shimon ben Shetach did not partake of the meal, so they gave him to lead benching. He said, how should I lead benching? Should I say Baruch blessed is he who Yanai and his friends ate from him? What Shimon Shetach was saying was, how could I lead benching if I did not partake of the meal? So what does he do? Shasi lahu kasa. He drank the cup of wine that they gave him. In other words, instead of that, they gave him a cup of wine to lead benching. Instead of using it to lead benching, he drank it. No problem. Yoav le kasa achrina. They brought him a second cup of wine, ubarich, and with that he went ahead and he led benching. So also I say, interesting enough, what happened over here? Shimon ben Shetach leads benching after only what? After only having consumed a cup of wine, right? Did not partake of the meal, consumed the cup of wine, and Shimon Shetach, he was exercising his own opinion. No one else agrees with what he did. This idea that you could go ahead and drink a cup of wine and suddenly be part of a mezumin does not work. Remember, Gabo said it's not a minyan case, there's a mezumin case. So Shimon Shetach, what he did, that was his own opinion. The Hachi Amar, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Li'olam eino motzi es rabim dechavasan, ach yochal kezayis dagan. Rabbi says, so the truth is, I take that back. Even this is a minyan case. Everyone agrees. When we said before that even if someone doesn't go ahead and eat bread, he could be mitzaref to a minyan. That's right. He could be one of the 10. What can't he do? Excuse me. What can't he do? He can't lead. So the notion ultimately, again, that Shimon Shetach is leading after only having drunk a glass of wine, no one holds that way. That was Shimon Shetach's own position. So Meisvei, the Gemara is the kasher. If a person went and joined the group, right, and he reclined with them, even if he didn't dip his food along with them, rather he just used a little bit of brine, and he didn't really eat with them, except for a dried fig, mitztarif itztarufe. So the Gemara says, mitztarif, he could combine as part of the group of Berachos Hamazon. So the Gemara says, itztarufim mitztarif, avalahotzi de rabni de chavasan ach yochal kezayis dagan. So once again, here's the ongoing theme. They're just pointing out that Shimon Shetach did his own thing, because the halacha is the threshold to combine as part of a group is actually quite low. What do you need to do in order to combine as part of the minyan for Berachos Hamazon purposes? Right? What do you need? Eat something, glass of wine, right? Or something else. It doesn't have to be something so significant. But to lead Berachos Hamazon, you must have absolutely eaten bread. So Shimon ben Shetach, who leads benching on his own after just having drunk a glass of wine, that was his own shita, not reflected by anyone else. Itmar nami amrav chana bar Yehuda mishvei derava afilu lo taval amadeis afilu lo taval imayim ela betzir v'lo achal imayim ela grogeres achas mitztarif ulahotzi asarabim deichavasan eno motzi ach yochal kizayis dagan. So both say this is the general halacha that we just, again, a little anticlimactic because you already started on the Shulchan Aruch, but halacha lemaisa, you could join with a minyan for Berachos Hamazon purposes if you eat anything of substance. Doesn't have to be amotzi, doesn't have to be mazonos, it could be a dried fig, it could be a glass of wine that allows you to combine with the group and allows you to remember again to say nevarich le'elokenu, allows the group to bench with the Shem Hashem, with the name of God. But to lead benching for that, you must actively go ahead and eat eat bread. Good. Says the Gemara, Amrav Chana bar Yehuda Mishrei Derava, Hilchasa, Achal Ala Yerek, Vishasa Kos Yayin, Mitztarif. And the halacha is that if you go out and you're joining with a group of 10, if you drink some wine or you eat even like a stalk of a vegetable, you can combine with the group ultimately again to form a minyan for benching purposes. Lahotzi, but to be motzi, anyone need to lead benching. Eino motzi achi yochal kezayis dagan. That you can only do when? After you eat a kezayis of bread. Beautiful. So we'll say, so now that is the halacha. So Amar Rav Nachman. So Rav Nachman said as follows. So we'll say now we're going to get a little bit, interestingly enough, it's fascinating again how this is ordered. So we've been speaking so much about the mechanistic details of benching. Now the Gemara actually gets into the structure of Birchas Hamazon. Quite a beautiful Gemara. Amar Rav Nachman, Moshe Tiken Yisrael Birchas Hazon. Moshe Rabbeinu is the one who created the first bracha of Hazon, right? The bracha that ends Hazon as Hakol, the first bracha of benching. That was created by Moshe Rabbeinu. The Gemara says, when was this? B'sha'ah shiyara lahem amon. It's actually quite beautiful. At the time when Moshe Rabbeinu began to see the man fall, that's when ultimately he instituted this first bracha of Birchas Hamazon. He was so taken, right? Baruch atah Hashem Hazon es hakol. He was so taken by the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sustained everyone in accordance with what they needed when he saw the man fall. That's when he instituted the first bracha. Yoshua, Tikin lahem Birchas haaretz keiva shenichnasu la'aretz. Yoshua instituted the second bracha of Birchas Hamazon, which is no delecha, right? Taking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the land. The bracha that ends ala aretzi ala mazon, on the land and for its sustenance. Yoshua institutes that bracha when he brings the Jews into Eretz Yisrael. So the Gemara says, so David Shlomo tiknu boni Yerushalayim. David and Shlomo went ahead and together created the third bracha of Birchas Hamazon, the bracha of Rachim, that ends with the bracha of Uvenei Yerushalayim Yerachalishin Rabbi Amenu, so on and so forth. They instituted that bracha. Now listen to this. They both instituted different parts of this. David Tikein Al Yisrael Amecha, the Al Yerushalayim Ava Yerushalayim Yirecha. So David HaMelech instituted the phrase that HaKadosh Baruch Hu do this for the sake of Yisrael, your nation, Yerushalayim, your city. Ushlomo Tikein Ala Bayis Hagodol VaHaKadosh. Shlomo, of course, is the one who inserts the references to the Beis HaMikdash, of course, reflective of the fact that although David HaMelech pined and yearned to build the Beis HaMikdash, he was never given that right. That was done by Shlomo. So David speaks about the nation, David speaks about Yerushalayim, because remember, David HaMelech was the one who conquered Yerushalayim. He was the conqueror of Yerushalayim, and he's the one who also purchased the threshing floor from Aravna HaYevusi, which would become the future site of the Beis HaMikdash. So David speaks about Am Yisrael, speaks about Yerushalayim, Shlomo speaks about the Beis HaMikdash. Hatov HaMeitiv. So we'll say, what about the bracha of Hatov HaMeitiv? Remember again, so that's the fourth bracha of benching. The bracha that we've been saying up until this point in time is Dirabanan. Now we'll say, now remember, understand that it's interesting. Based on this, you would say to yourself, well, one second. The only bracha that really sounds daraisa is what? Potentially what? The first one, which is instituted by Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? Second one is Yoshua. Yoshua leads Klal Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael after the close of the Torah. Right? The Chumash ends with the death of Moshe Rabbeinu. Sefer Yoshua picks up with Yoshua's entry into Eretz Yisrael. Surely David and Shlomo much later on. So we'll see what this means. So Hatov HaMeitiv, the fourth bracha of benching, was created by the rabbis in Yavne. B'Yavne Teknobos. Remember again, Yavne. What's Yavne? Yavne is where the Sanhedrin relocated. The truth is, they already relocated there even before the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. Right? Remember again, with this dramatic story in Maseches Gittin, where Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is smuggled out of the city, pretends that he dies, right? Feigns his death, goes out of the city, comes face to face with Vespasian. He asked Vespasian for three things. One of them was Tein li Yavne v'chachameha. So remember, this was before the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. Right? They didn't yet breach the walls of Yerushalayim, but Yavne, the Sanhedrin already located. They already left the Beis HaMikdash, and they went to Yavne. So they instituted the bracha of Hatov HaMeitiv in Yavne. Tiknua, why did they institute it? Tiknua keneged haruge Beitar. They went ahead and they instituted it for those who were murdered in Beitar. The Gemara says, Damrab Masna Osayum Shenitna Aruge Beitar the Kvura. That day when they allowed those murdered in Beitar, we'll discuss what this is in just a moment, to be buried. So Tiknu B'Yavna Tova HaMeitiv. They went ahead and they instituted in Yavna the bracha of Tova HaMeitiv. Hatzobos says, let me give you the background. Beitar, I think Rashi actually points this out over here. Maybe not. No, no. So we'll say, so Beitar, remember again, was the seat of Rabbi Akiva's rebellion, Bar Kokhba rebellion, right? Remember again, Beitar was the last stronghold against the Romans. When the Romans broke through and they conquered Beitar, they slaughtered the inhabitants of the city with a vengeance and commanded, or I should say, prevented the Jews from burying their dead. The reason they prevented the Jews from burying their dead is the Romans wanted the Jews to get a very clear message. Resistance to Rome will be faced with a fierce and uncompromising hand. So they left the bodies out to rot. A miracle occurred that animals did not come and pick apart at the bodies, and the bodies did not decompose. So as a result of that miracle in Beitar, now tragically that was the end of the Bar Kokhba rebellion. Death of Bar Kokhba, really, at least for that period of history, the end of any hopes for immediate salvation. So in Yavne, after this miracle in Beitar, they instituted the following bracha of Hatov HaMeitiv. Hatov Shelo Esrichu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good in that he did not allow the bodies to decompose, VaHaMeitiv, and who bestows good, that ultimately again, Shenitna L'Kvura, that they were given over for burial. Given over for burial. So we'll say, very dramatic. You know, it's also sometimes we do things and we don't appreciate the background to it. The notion that the bracha of Hazanas HaKol, Moshe Rabbeinu instituted it because of Man. No Delachal Yoshua instituted when he came into Eretz Yisrael. Rachim, David, and Shlomo. We say their words. We say their words. Hatov HaMeitiv, because they were Jews. They were Jews who were murdered and were not allowed to be buried. And the incredible miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did for the kavod of Am Yisrael, that allowed the bodies not to be picked apart and not to decompose. That's the benching we recite every day. The benching that we often blow through, right? Or the benching that we go through and say every other word because we're in a rush. These are the words of Moshe, the words of Yoshua, the words of David and Shlomo, the words of the Rabbanim in Yavne. This is what we have the schus to say after every meal, to take it with a bit more koved rosh. It's really quite incredible. Tan Rabbanon. So the Gemara goes weiter. Seder Berachos Hamazon Kachi. So we'll say here is the order. Here is the Seder Berachos Hamazon. Bracha Rishona, Berachos Hazan. The first bracha is Berachos Hazan. Shnia, Berachos Haaretz. Shlishis, Boni Yerushalayim. Revius, Hatov HaMeitiv. So that's the order of benching. That's the order of benching. Ubeshabbos, what about on Shabbos? Maschil benechama, umesayim benechama. Rabbi says Shabbos, we add in ritzei. Right? There's an extra supplemental paragraph in ritzei. Where do we put ritzei? We put ritzei in the bracha of nechama, the bracha of consolation. What's the bracha of consolation? The bracha of rachim. Right, Rachim. So we put it in the middle of Rachim. So essentially, really, it's not in the middle of Rachim. What we do is we put it in Rachim and Uvenei Yerushalayim Yerachos Shemei Ramiro. So we sandwich it in between supplicatory wishes for divine compassion. So the Gemara says, "Omer kedushas hayom be'emsa." Rabbi Eliezer Omer ritzei ratza laomra benechama, omra beberachas haaretz, omra beberachas shetiknu cham biyavne, omra. So Rabbi Eliezer, interestingly enough, says you could put ritzei wherever you want. Right? All we know is that you have to add in a paragraph for Shabbos, but you have the right to choose wherever you want to put it. You want to put it in Rachim, put it in Rachim. No Delacha, wherever you want to put it. The Gemara says, I'm sorry. The Chacham say no. The Chacham say no. You only could put it in Rachim. Chacham hainu Tanakama. The Chacham are saying the same thing as the Tanakama. To which the Gemara says, "Ika benayhu di eved." Ultimately, you're going to both say the nafkamina would be what Tanakama and the Chacham both say that halacha lamaisa ritzei has to go in Rachim. The nafkamina, the practical difference between them is what happens if you put Rachim, what happens if you put Ritzei somewhere else. According to the first opinion, you not have to go back. According to the second opinion, you would have to go back. Good. So we'll say we know halacha l'maisa, we put Ritzei, ultimately again in Rachim. Tan Rabbanon. So how do I know that there's an obligation to bench mid'oraisa? Shenemar v'yachalta v'savata u'virachta. So I'll say the pasuk says, you shall eat, you shall be sated, and you shall bless. So I will say that phrase of Yachalta v'Savata Berachta Zu Birkas Hazan. That refers to the first bracha of benching, the bracha of Hazanas HaKol, the bracha of Moshe Rabbeinu. Es Hashem Elokecha, you have to bless Hashem your God. Zu Birkas Hazimun. This refers to a mezumin. The idea that when you have 3 people or 10 people, that you add an additional introduction to benching, which amplifies the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Allah Aretz, bless God on the land. Zu Birchas Aretz, this refers to no delacha, the second bracha of Birchas Hamazon, that thanks HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the land. Hatova, the good land. Ultimately, again, what does this refer to? Zeh Boni Yerushalayim, or Hatova, the good. This refers to Boni Yerushalayim. This refers to the building of Yerushalayim. V'chinu Omer will say, so why does Tov ultimately again refer to Yerushalayim? V'chinu Omer, Hahar Hatov Hazeh V'Halavanon. As we'll say, Yerushalayim itself is referred to as Tov. Right? Yerushalayim itself is referred to as Hahara Tov, the good mountain. Asher nasan lacha, Zatov Ametiv. So we'll say that He has given to you, referring to the miracles that Kadosh Baruch Hu has given to us. This refers ultimately again to Atov Ametiv, which, as we said before, was instituted by the rabbis in Yavne for the great miracle that the bodies did not decompose, and ultimately they were ultimately given over to Gvura. Amy al Yacharov, I only know that I have to bench after I eat. The fun of minayin. How do I know that I have to bench? No, excuse me, that I have to make a bracha before I supposed to remember again. Interestingly enough, we already dealt with this, right? We already actually dealt with this in the beginning of the 6th parak of Berachos, which is really quite fascinating. But the Gemara says again, I know now that you have to bench after you eat. How do I know that I have to make a bracha before I eat? Amrit kavachomer. It's kavachomer. That's the kavachomer. Kishu savem mevarech. If you make a bracha when you are sated, kishu raiv lakoshke. So we'll say if you already make a bracha once you're sated, all the more so what? You should make a bracha when you are hungry. Rabbi Omer Eino Tzarech. Rabbi says, no, you don't need this limud. The achalta v'savato v'rachta, that phrase, zu birchas hazon. This is a reference to the first bracha of benching. Aval birchas hazimon, migadlo la'Hashem iti, nafka. Most remember again, zimon, we learned that from gadlu la'Hashem iti. Or kishem Hashem ekra havugol delelukenu. Therefore, again, ala aretz zubir kas haaretz. Ala aretz refers to bir kas haaretz no delacha. Hatova zeboni Yerushalayim. V'chinu omer ahar hatova zev halavanon. Hatova meitiv biyavne tiknua. And hatova meitiv was made in Yavne. Emi el yacharav. But again, you're only teaching me that I have to make brachos after I eat the fun of minayin. How do I know that halacha lamaisa brachos have to be made before you eat as well? Talmud lomar asher nasan lecha. Therefore, the pasuk says that what? But for that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given you, misha nasan lecha. From the moment that Hashem gives it to you, is the moment that you're obligated to make a bracha. Which means what? From the moment that you have the food in hand, misha nasan lecha. Right? Ala aretz hatova asher nasan lach. From the moment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives it to you, once you hold it in your hand, that's when you're obligated to make a bracha. So we'll say, here the Gemara says, here's a raya ultimately again, that you make a bracha before you eat as well. Rabbi Yitzchak Omer Eino Tzarech. Rabbi Yitzchak says the truth is none of this is really necessary. Hareyu Omer ubarich es lachamacha vesmimecha. The pasuk says that Hashem will bless your bread and your waters. Al tikri uberach elo ubarich. Rather, again, to read it as berach, as barach, you have to make a bracha on your water and on your bread. They must say kari lechem. And when is it called lechem? Kodim sheochlan. So this is actually very interesting. So the way the Gemara is actually is berach o barich es lachem. Bless your bread. When is bread called bread? Only when? Only when? Before you eat it. Before you eat it. After you eat it, it's no longer bread. What is it? Digestional material, whatever it is. So therefore, Berach Eslach means make a bracha on bread when it's still bread. When is it still bread? Before you eat it. From here is a raya that you make brachas before you eat as well. Rabbi Nassan Omer, Eno Zarach, Rabbi Nassan, you don't need this Josh Hari Omer, Kevoachem Ha'ir, Kein Timtsu Osa B'Tarim Ya'alav Amasa Lechol, Kilo Yochal Ha'am Ad Bo'o, Ki Hu Yavarech HaZevach, Acharechin Yochal HaKruim. So this is actually very interesting. So the Gemara says over here, we'll actually have to stop over here, but in Shmuel Aleph, ultimately again when Shaul is looking for Shmuel, so Shaul comes into the city and he finds a group of girls and he asks the girls, where is the Navi Shmuel? So the girls give him this explanation. They tell him when you come into the ear, you'll find him before he goes up on the bama to go ahead and eat, because he doesn't eat, because no one eats until the Navi comes, because the Navi is going to bless the karban. So from here you see what? From here you see the concept ultimately of a bracha prior to eating. So also we'll stop over here for today. We'll pick up Amir Hashem with the rest of this discussion tomorrow.